Hello and welcome to Brainwaves. Today we'll be exploring the rich history of one of the most well-known cities in the world, New York City. From its humble beginnings as a Native American settlement, to its rise as a global economic and cultural center, the story of New York City is a fascinating one. We'll delve into its past and discover the important events, figures, and movements that shaped the city as we know it today. Long before the arrival of European explorers, the Lenape Native Americans inhabited the region that is now New York City. They lived off the land, waterways, and wildlife of the area. The Lenape were skilled hunters, fishermen, and farmers, and had a deep spiritual connection to the natural world. They were also skilled traders who had an extensive network of exchange throughout the region. Today, the legacy of the Lenape Native Americans lives on in the many place names that reflect their language and culture, from the Bronx and Manhattan to the Hudson and Delaware rivers. The Lenape way of life revolved around the land, water, and wildlife of the area. They revered nature and believed that all living things should be respected and protected. They were skilled fishermen and hunters, using their knowledge of the environment to sustain themselves. The Lenape were also skilled farmers, growing crops of beans, corn, and squash, which they cultivated using a Three Sisters planting method. They lived in small villages, building long houses made of saplings and bark. These villages were led by women, who held significant power within Lenape society. The Lenape also had a rich spiritual tradition, with ceremonies and rituals that honored the natural world and celebrated the cycles of life. In the early 17th century, Dutch explorers arrived in the New York area, and soon established a trading post on Manhattan Island. This led to the colonization of the region, and the displacement and subjugation of the Lenape people. The Dutch West India Company, which controlled the colony of New Netherland, saw the Lenape as impediments to their goals of trade and settlement. As a result, the Lenape were forced to give up their lands and resources, and were subjected to increasing violence and exploitation. The arrival of the Europeans also brought with them diseases to which the Lenape had no immunity, resulting in widespread illness and death. Although the Lenape people continue to live on today, their way of life and culture were forever changed by the arrival of the Europeans. After the American Revolution, New York City became the capital of the new United States in 1785. The decision to make New York City the nation's capital was partly due to its significant economic and political influence, as it was already a major center of trade and commerce. It was also seen as a symbol of the country's unity, as the state of New York was one of the 13 original colonies and played a key role in the Revolution. During its time as the capital, New York City was the site of important moments in U.S. history, such as the writing of the Bill of Rights and the establishment of the first Supreme Court. However, New York City's status as capital was short-lived, as it was soon moved to Philadelphia and then Washington, D.C. New York City's status as capital of the United States was due in part to its significant economic and political influence. The city was already a major center of trade and commerce, with a bustling seaport that linked it to markets around the world. Its strategic location at the mouth of the Hudson River also made it a key transportation hub, connecting the eastern seaboard to the vast interior of the continent. In addition to its economic power, New York City was also a center of political influence, with a long history of civic activism and a tradition of political innovation. As such, it was seen as an ideal choice for the capital of the new nation, where it could play a key role in shaping the future of the country. New York City's time as the capital of the United States was short-lived, as it was moved to Philadelphia in 1790, and then Washington, D.C. in 1800. The decision to move the capital was made in part to appease southern states who were wary of the economic and political dominance of northern states like New York. Nonetheless, New York City remained an important center of power and industry. It continued to grow and develop, attracting waves of immigrants who helped build the city into one of the largest and most vibrant in the world. Today, New York City is still a political and economic powerhouse, with global influence in industries ranging from finance to fashion. Its legacy as a former capital and as a crucible of American history continues to shape its unique identity to this day. In the 19th century, New York City became a major hub for trade, industry, and finance. The city's strategic location at the mouth of the Hudson River made it a vital gateway for trade between Europe and America, and its bustling port became a center for commerce and shipping. New York City also became an industrial powerhouse, with factories and mills sprouting up across the city, producing goods ranging from textiles to machinery. Moreover, the city became a center of finance and banking, with Wall Street emerging as the epicenter of American capitalism. These factors combined to make New York City one of the most important and influential cities in the world, driving its growth and development into the 20th century and beyond. The growth of New York City in the 19th century was fueled in part by transportation innovations such as the Erie Canal. The canal, completed in 1825, connected New York City to the Great Lakes region, providing a faster and more efficient way to transport goods and people. The canal helped to establish New York City as the preeminent trading hub in the United States. In addition to the Erie Canal, the city benefited from the growth of the railroads, which led to the development of commuter suburbs and increased mobility for people and goods. These transportation innovations helped to spur the city's economic growth and solidify its position as a major center of industry, finance, and trade. Immigration from around the world brought new cultures and traditions to New York City, making it a melting pot of diversity. In the mid-19th century, massive waves of immigrants arrived in the city from Ireland and Germany, followed by Italians, Eastern Europeans, and others. They settled in ethnic enclaves such as Little Italy, Chinatown, and the Lower East Side, where they established distinctive communities with their own languages, customs, and traditions. Despite facing discrimination and hostility from some quarters, these immigrant communities contributed significantly to the cultural richness and economic vitality of the city. Their food, music, literature, and religious practices helped to shape the identity of New York City and influenced American culture more broadly. During the Civil War, New York City and the state played a crucial role in supporting the Union Army. As a major center of industry and transportation, New York City was able to provide troops and supplies to the Union effort. Companies such as Brooklyn Navy Yard and Iron Works in Troy and Buffalo produced valuable war materials, while banks in the city provided funding to the Union government. Moreover, the city served as a key transportation hub, with ships and trains transporting troops and supplies to the front lines. Meanwhile, New York State provided a significant number of soldiers to the Union Army, with over 400,000 men enlisting during the war. The state's soldiers were involved in some of the most important battles of the war, helping to turn the tide of the conflict in favor of the Union. New York City was a major center of industry and transportation, providing troops and supplies to the Union Army during the Civil War. The city's factories produced goods ranging from boots and uniforms to artillery and ammunition, and its shipyards built warships for the Union Navy. The city's strategic location also made it a key transportation hub, with ships, trains, and wagons transporting troops and supplies to the front lines. Troops from New York City and the surrounding area played a significant role in the war effort, with the city providing regiments made up primarily of immigrants, including the famous Irish Brigade. In addition, New York City was a major financial center, with banks providing loans and financial support to the Union government and businesses throughout the war. Together, these contributions helped to secure the Union's victory and preserve the United States as one nation. New York State provided a significant number of soldiers to the Union Army during the Civil War, helping to turn the tide of the conflict. Over 400,000 men from New York enlisted in the Union Army, with soldiers from the state serving in some of the war's most important battles, such as Gettysburg and Antietam. New York soldiers were known for their bravery and tenacity, with units such as the Iron Brigade and the Excelsior Brigade earning a reputation as some of the best in the Union Army. Moreover, New York State was an important source of funding and supplies for the Union effort, with the state's manufacturing industry producing weapons, uniforms, and other necessary goods for the war effort. New Yorkers also contributed financially to the war effort, with bonds issued by the state government helping to fund the Union Army. New York State's contributions to the Union cause were critical to the Union's ultimate victory and helped to establish the state as a powerful center of political and economic influence in the United States. New York City remains one of the major cultural hubs of the world today. The city is home to some of the world's most famous museums, such as the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Museum of Modern Art, as well as institutions dedicated to specific cultural traditions such as the Jewish Museum and the Museum of Chinese in America. The music, theater and film industries have long been centered in the city, with Broadway productions and independent films drawing audiences from around the world. The city's diverse neighborhoods and communities also make it a melting pot of cultures, with festivals, parades, and celebrations taking place throughout the year. Furthermore, New York City's status as a global cultural hub has also led to the growth of a vibrant art scene, with galleries and studios dotting the city's neighborhoods and attracting artists from around the world. New York City is a major center of finance and economics, not just in the United States but globally. The city is home to Wall Street, the financial nerve center of the country, as well as the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, among other financial institutions. These institutions help facilitate trillions of dollars in financial transactions every year and are a driving force in global commerce. New York City is also home to numerous corporations and businesses, including media giants such as Time Warner and News Corp, as well as major technology firms such as IBM and Google. The city's real estate market is another important part of its economy, with some of the highest property values in the world. In addition, small businesses and entrepreneurs also contribute to the city's economy, with shops, restaurants, and startups thriving in neighborhoods throughout the city. The city's economic strength has been critical to its continued success as a global center of influence and innovation. New York City remains a global hotspot for politics and international diplomacy. The United Nations headquarters is located in the city, making it a major center for international relations and the negotiation of global issues. The city also houses the offices of numerous international organizations, such as the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the United States Mission to the UN, further solidifying its role in global politics. Moreover, New York City has a rich history of political activism and social movements, with figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Gloria Steinem shaping American politics and culture. The city is also a hub for political campaigns and fundraising, with presidential and other political candidates frequently making stops in the city. Its position as a cultural, economic, and political center has made New York City a powerful force in shaping not just American politics but global affairs as well. And there you have it, the rich and fascinating history of New York City. From its early beginnings as a Dutch trading post to the vibrant and bustling metropolis of today, the city has seen it all. It's been home to countless people from diverse backgrounds who brought with them their own unique cultures and traditions. Their contributions have made New York City what it is today, a global hub for innovation, art, and commerce. We hope you enjoyed learning about this amazing city with us today. Thanks for watching Brainwaves.